LakelandCarKeys.com. I'm here making a duplicate Toyota, your basic TR47 key. This key is a little bent. I straightened it out some, but it's a little bent, it's a little worn, and I put it in the key machine and I decoded it both sides, and it did not come back as a valid key code. So I had a few people asking me about the optical reader, so I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can get a good reading off of this in the optical reader and cut a new key. So the optical reader, you want to make sure it's powered on, and there goes your Bluetooth information, and you can press the button and the gate will open. Drop your key down, make sure you get all the cuts down in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the phone app so you can see how I go in and decode the key. Alright, so from the main screen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into vehicle database, and we can go ahead and just select Toyota. Oop, the wrong way, QRS, T for Toyota. Alright, and this was a 4Runner. This was like a 2000 4Runner. But we're going to go down and select the T43 4Runner 10-bit in most vehicles, and it tells us to put it in clamp 5A position 3, but we're actually going to, right here in the middle, hit optical reader, and we have to connect our Wi-Fi and go ahead and read. Alright, so we automatically connect it. It's going to take an X-ray image of the key and then try to computerize read the depths. Alright, so it's telling me this is what it's reading for our key cuts. So I'm going to go ahead in the bottom, hit to cut, and down the bottom, then I'll hit find bitten, and then I'll query those key cuts to a database, and that also was a bad reading. So I'm going to go ahead and eyeball this and see if I can identify the cuts by eye, and maybe I only have to make one or two minor adjustments before I can go ahead and get the valid key code. And I'm at the vehicle, and I can confirm that this key is not actually cut properly. So we go there, it turns to the right perfectly, does not turn to the left. I can take the key out, flip it over, turn it to the right perfectly, won't turn to the left. Alright, so when we get inside, we can put it in ignition, turns perfectly into ignition. Alright, so there's a little bit of a mismatch, and it might just be one of the bittens off. So we can, if need be, pull the passenger side door panel, go inside, pull the lock. The lock will have a code on it, or we could pull this key code by VIN number with our NASDAQ credentials. If I did a manual duplication of this key, it's just going to give me another bad key like I already have. So that's why I always tell people why I cut keys by code. I like cutting keys by code. Yes, I can copy this key and give them, two keys like the one they had. That's not really a good job. That's not a complete job. If it was an emergency, yes, I would absolutely do it. But we're going to go and see if we can get them an exact cut by the exact wafers so that it will reference back to valid key code. Alright, so it's done tracing that first side, and then it'll come around and basically do the same thing on the other side and create an image of this key. So once I cut the new key, I can go back and test it on the vehicle and see if this does the same thing. It'll turn one way and not the other way. It's possible that one side of the key is reading correctly and one side of the key is not. So basically what we would have to do is put them in the manual duplicator, and then just duplicate a new key, both sides of one side of that key, see if that works. If it works, you're good. If it doesn't, flip this key over and then make a new key of both sides of the first key again and see if it works. But we're going to go ahead and give this a test first. Alright, so I got the new key set up in the machine, and we're gonna go ahead and let it do its cutting again. And this is the duplicate that we cut. Again, so we got perfectly turning to the right. Now I got it to turn to the left so we can see both lock and unlock. Now this was sticking going to the left, but you know, I worked it in a little bit, and you know, it did work its way in, so I can turn both unlock and unlock pretty good on both sides, and I can do the ignition with no problems. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them this key, but you know, for a habit, try cutting keys by code. So this one, even if you look at, because it's a fresh key, if you look real close, you probably can't see it with the light in, but I could kind of see where it was rubbing, like right about there. So, you know, sometimes you can, you know, get lucky with a file. You just file that down a little bit to the next one, and you know, it'll work a little bit better. I'm not gonna mess with this one because I got it to turn good in the lock, so this is good to go. But that's, you know, for a whole nother video when we get into, if we get into impression and locks. You know, that's what you want to look for, just those little, you know, those little touches. You can see it right down there on the bottom. If I flip it over, you can see it right there on the bottom. So maybe just that one cut needed to be one level down. So if that was, let me see, if that was a 2, maybe it should have been a 3. Alright, but thanks for watching. LakelandCarKeys.com.